some of the young guys are starting to really develop, and we're starting to earn. They're starting to earn some trust in terms of that. 15 is a high number, I would say, but I think we got a good group. Depending on the day, I think we have anywhere between 8 to 10 guys that could rotate through there, and hopefully more as we keep going. But those young guys need a lot of reps to get to that point now.
Among the freshmen, the true freshmen, Coach Fedora's mentioned a few times Jordan Riley is probably being one that is most likely to maybe see the field early this season.
Say along the D-line, Jordan Riley's kind of stepped up and really kind of put himself in a position to play for us.
What is he doing that you like and that would get him on the field?
Well, for what he's doing, his role in the defense, in terms of X's and O's, it's probably the easiest transition for a freshman. But more importantly than that, he's athletic, he's big, he's tough, he's physical in there. So he has all the skill set that you're looking for a young nose guy. He just has to continue to learn, but he's doing a good job.
What are you doing differently this year with the pass rush compared to last year? And what have guys like Fox, Carney, DeJuan done so far in camp?
Obviously with the change in D-line coaches, a little bit of change in just technique. But then too, constantly every time we have opportunities, I try to get as much four-man pass rush and practice as we can, just to teach them how they fit off each other. When you rush the passer, it's not just about beating your guy. It's how your four D linemen can work in unison to fill up rush lanes and get after the quarterback. So you got to do both in tandem, and I think they're really starting to get a better feel for that.
JP, Fedora's acknowledged in the past he's somewhat of a kind of a stat geek. What's your approach in the offseason? Are you a stat-heavy guy? Are you more kind of visual?
Yeah, well, I am a stat-heavy guy in terms of what really matters defensively. There's a lot of stats that when you really look at them, they're not really relevant to playing good defense. Based on your scheme or based on who you're playing against, stats can be skewed a little bit. But the four things that we are going to focus on and always focus on, and really in no particular order, is we want to focus on takeaways, our tackles for loss versus their explosive plays, our red zone defense, and our third down defense. Those are our four things. So those we're going to always track. I'm going to keep numbers throughout practice, throughout fall camp, throughout the course of the season on those four things, because those are the four things we think that really indicate that you're playing good defense.
How do you practice third down defense?
Well, there's two different ways. One is we have a scripted third down sets versus the offense, but we do enough situational work. Where we're playing, either a move the ball segment where the guys got to recognize it's third down. I'm making our third down calls, or like yesterday, for example, we did a 2nd and 8 and play it. That was the drill. So the offense started in 2nd and 8. However, we did on defense corresponded to the next down. So if it was 2nd and 8, then it was 3rd and 4. 2nd and 8, then 3rd and 6. 2nd and 8 could be 1st and 10. But your guys get in that mode of being able to kind of put themselves in a game situation.
Going back to the spring and the last couple of weeks, the guys have said one of the changes in you running the defense as opposed to previously is you want them to be more aggressive, more physical. How difficult is it to get them to be more aggressive without losing focus of the responsibilities, especially since they maybe played a little differently in the last couple of years?
Well, you touch on it. Being more aggressive doesn't necessarily mean doing anything different in terms of your role and responsibility. It's just how you do your role and responsibility. And then I think the other thing they probably mean is, I'd like to pressure more. But we're only going to pressure more if we can handle it and if we can hold up in coverage. So, it's going to be a little bit of matchup situation and how I feel about it based on our preparation going into any game week.
We've talked a lot about Donnie Miles and MJ Stewart, kind of veterans in the secondary, but it seems like you've got a lot of young guys, Miles Dorn, Trey Shaw, that are going to be able to play a little bit for you. Can you kind of speak to what they've brought as young guys?
Yeah, Miles Dorn, I thought really started to come along at the end of last season. He's got the whole skill set that you're looking for in terms of body type, athleticism, toughness, physicality. He's got it all. So this will be really his first time to be able to have that role. I think he's grown a lot from the spring. I think he was kind of feeling his way around some. New coach, first time being the starter and all that stuff, and he's really done a nice job this fall. We have a bunch of other young guys that are playing. Corey Bell's playing really at a high level right now. Trey Shaw is playing at a pretty good level for a freshman. Patrice Renee for a sophomore is playing good. KJ Sales for a sophomore is playing good. So we got a lot of young guys that are in the mix, and that's probably going to be the number one battle coming out over the next 10 days or so is, I know MJ, I know Donnie, I know Miles, but who are going to fill those other spots? And I think Corey Bell's come a long way in terms of taking an opportunity, but there's still one spot up for grabs, and we're going to have to let it play out.
What were the logistics of how things went on Wednesday when Larry wasn't here, and who kind of ran things, and how much did you get accomplished?
Well, we didn't practice that day, so we have the new mandatory 1 day a week off with the players. So it actually worked out pretty well. So, staff-wise, it was kind of business as usual. I know offensively they were meeting on certain things. Defensively, we were meeting to kind of go through the last phase of fall camp and what we wanted to get done, our objectives. We did some recruiting. So, that wasn't a major interruption in terms of what the staff was doing. The players were off anyway.
Back to the DBs, the 1 and 2 open spots at corner. What are you looking for from those guys? Like, how do you decide who's going to start?
Consistency. I mean, if you wanted to start at the very bare minimum fundamental level, who's not going to get the ball thrown over their head? It kind of starts with that, and then from there, who's the most consistent in terms of assignments and execution. I mean, that to me is how we're going to make that decision.